the cola die, the Dress Your Craft cola die. So I have some of these in shop, and these dies, and they are in the Facebook Live group. So if you're on my main page, journalsforlife.shop, you can go to the Facebook Live, and it has everything in there. Everything in there that I show you today is 10% off today. Since I talk about it, I'll put it in there, and you can take 10% off using code Facebook, and I'll put that down in the chat when I'm done, and put it as a title of this video as well. So you can do that. So we're going to make some of these. That die is in shop. Last week I said I was going to do it. A few of you purchased this die to follow along today. So here is the tutorial on how to put this together. Okay, so that's the cute cola bottle. So let's get started. Okay, so I don't have the die. I forgot to grab it out, but it's in the collection. It's a pink die. It comes with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So it comes with a piece to cut the outline. And you're also going to use that same die to cut out your foam piece. So this is one die, then it has a back piece die. It has a little teeny tiny cola, and it has a lid. So that's what the die comes with. You can make shakers, or you can just make them plain. It doesn't have to be a shaker. I just happen to have a lot of fun making shakers out of them. This is a random mix that I made with stuff that I had on hand. So you can grab some of that out, whatever you have, and follow along. If you don't have this die, it is in that Facebook group, live group on my main page, and you can get 10% off of that die today. All right, so the first thing that I do in making this cola shaker, I generally you can cut the paper out of whatever color you want. This one, I think I cut it out of khaki, so you can see. I didn't like that too much. It was okay. You know, it's like you play and you iterate. So I decided to do it out of white this time because I didn't want the brown to go all the way up. I wanted it to stop kind of normally like you would see in a bottle. So I'm going to ink it using this white piece of paper. So let me grab that, and this is what it looks like. So I kind of like seeing that clear, you know, the clear bottle at the top. So I'm going to ink this. So what I do is I move this out the way because I'm messy and I get ink everywhere, and then I just make a mess. All right, so what I did for this color here, and it almost kind of looks like Dr. Pepper too, right? It could be Coke or Dr. Pepper root beer. So I got 3 different colors of ink. I started out with a light. I went just a tiny bit darker, and then I used this one, this aged mahogany, because it looks more like cola. I think that this color kind of brings in a nice, I don't know, cola color. It looks like Dr. Pepper too, doesn't it? So lots of choices there. So let's start with the lighter color. I'm using Distress Oxide, and this is tea dye. So just taking a little bit here, and I'm going to start at the top where I want it to stop, like right there, and I'm just going to bring it down. Okay. And then I pull it down like this so you don't see the round foam. I just kind of swipe it down. And it's okay that this layer is not super perfect because we are going to darken it. So that's the real quick layer. Let's see, I'm going to do both while I have it. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. These are a lot of fun. Tammy last week said that she went to the Coca-Cola Museum and she thought that this would be really cute to make a bunch of pages and different embellishments. I thought that was an amazing idea. It's perfect for summer. I remember as a child, we had a pool for a little while. We bought a house that had an existing pool. We didn't keep it up. But it was really fun in the summer because my mom would fill an ice chest and just tell us to go. And we did. We were fish. We went and spent all summer playing in the pool. So I have a lot of fond memories. And I remember the bottles and the Czech Dr. What was it? What's the off-brand? I can't remember. But the ice chest was just full of that and popsicles. And we just hung out and had a really great time. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, so I guess that was my mom's way of, you know, getting us out of her hair for a while. Lots of fun. So it could be for summer layouts. It could be for beach layouts. I have one that I did. It says live... What does it say? Live every hour like it's happy hour. So it could be maybe a beer bottle, maybe a cookout. So lots of different ways to use this die. Okay, and this is the one that I think looks more like cola. It's aged mahogany. It's got that kind of purpley brown in it. So to me, now it's kind of looking more like soda, with all of these color layers there. Okay, I can't forget about this one. I think I almost forgot about this one. Let's do this one too. Okay. Just want to make sure you blend it in really good. You don't leave that circle foam on there. Okay, and I keep wiping this up. This is a silicone mat. And I have a wet paper towel. Keep wiping it up so I don't get it, spread it. And sometimes I spread it onto my transparencies. You know, it's really not good. You want to just kind of keep the space clean, or maybe use another piece of paper to ink, because we don't want to carry it over to our transparency. Okay, so that was tea dye, gathered twigs, and aged mahogany layered to make the cola in the bottle. Okay. So that's the first step. Okay, so the next step is we are going to take the foam piece. So what you'll do with the die is you will take this die and you will cut a piece of foam. So I love that these dies cut really nicely through foam. There's a bunch of thin craft foam. You could get it at local stores, or you can get it online as well. I don't carry it because I don't do a lot of shakers, or shaker dies, so it's a one-off. So I don't have enough client base to carry it in the shop, but you can get it pretty easily locally. It's just a foam sheet. It's just a cheap, thin piece of foam. So you'll cut that out, and then we're going to glue it on there. And we'll put the shaker mix in here. So the tip with this is to use a fine tip glue. I broke my other tip, so I'm hoping that this glue works out. I haven't used it in a while, so bear with me. We shall see if it's going to work or not. And I also grabbed my tweezers. I can't see very well, and then, you know, I'm not super fine motor skill tactile, so I have to kind of, this is how I do it. I grab it with tweezers, and then I put like a thin line of glue. So it's really important to put a thin line of glue. If you put too much glue on it, it spreads in your shaker. It's okay if that happens. You'll just set it aside and let it dry. It just takes a lot longer to dry. So let's see if I can talk and do this, because fine motor skills are not my thing. This is the delicate part. You don't want to rush it. You just want to get a nice line of glue using a thin tip all the way around. Okay. I have to bring it closer. I can't see. There we go. Okay, I can see now. Perfect. All right. So this is going to pop it up so you can put your shaker mix in the middle. And the key with this is to put your line of glue on there and then let it dry. Don't play with it. Don't manipulate it. Don't try to fix anything. If you have excess glue on there, leave it alone. Okay, and I'm just kind of going back and making sure that there's a line. You don't want your shaker mixes falling out. You want this glued all the way around. The line of glue all the way around. Okay. Okay, and the reason I do it with tweezers is because you need to lay it down like straight on here and super flat. Okay. All right, so that looks pretty good, but you can still see the bottle, so I'm going to push it out a little bit before it dries. I'm going to get it on there, tap it down real gently, and I'm going to try to get the outline exactly on the bottle. Since this foam piece is hollow, it kind of, you know, gets wonky. Look how wonky that is. So it's like you have to kind of play with it a tiny bit. All right. So this is what it's going to look like. You're going to see that glue in there. Okay? That's going to bug you. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't try to wipe it. It will dry clear. Just kind of gently tap this down. Once you get it into place and you have it where you want it. Okay? Just make sure it's all it's straight. Looks all straight to me. Don't worry about that. Now, the best thing that you can do right now is let it dry. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I already have some made up. I'm going to put this one over here. We're gonna let it dry. Okay? We'll let it dry. All right, so this one's dry. And you can tell that, where's the white glue? You can't see it, right? So it dried clear and you can't see it. So that's what it'll look like. So just leave it alone and let it dry. Now you'll notice that this is brown and the other one was white. So you could do a couple things. You can buy a darker color foam so it doesn't show through, or you can use black foam, or with this one, I just took a marker and I colored it, or you can cut out an extra one of these and put it in between so you would get two. And to cover up the white, you could get this outline and layer it over the foam. And then put your transparency and then put another one on top. I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but I'll show you. See in this one here, you see how you can see that white? You see the white outline? Okay, so if the white outline bothers you, you can either color it with a marker before you put the transparency on, or you can cut an additional an additional outline and put the outline over the white, put your shaker mix in, put your transparency, and then put your final outline. That way you're like thoroughly covering that white foam. An easy fix for me, I'm not following my own rule. Let me put this back over here to dry. We're gonna leave him alone. Okay. My thing to do is I just take a marker and I just run it across the white foam. So like this is the white foam here. I just go all the way around and I just kind of color it. Okay, and that's what I did. I did that off camera. I just colored the foam so it would be nice and uniform and not stark white. Okay, so now that we have this, the next thing is to put the shakers in. So this is the part that is really tricky. So I made up this mix in this container. I save little containers like this. So I put in here some brown glitter, some black glitter, some tiny white glass beads, and some gold chunky glitter. And it looks like this. Okay. So that's what it looks like. And I mixed up enough to make several Coke bottles. So I am going to get a piece of paper. Okay. And I'm going to try to get some of this mix in here. Here. Oops, that might be a little much. In there. Okay. And, all right, so it's in there. This is sticky as well. You have to be real careful with this. You don't want it to go everywhere. You want to pick up the bottle neck up at the top and just kind of shake it a little. So we want to flatten it out. And we might have gotten a little too much. Okay. Okay, and you just want to shake it to where you get it in the inside. You can kind of push it in. This piece doesn't matter. We're going to glue over that. So just kind of want to push it in there. Okay. I'm going to be real careful and clean off the foam line because you're going to put glue there. So you don't want any of this. I do think I put too much. Okay, so let's push it off. You don't want it on the foam. Okay. I'm going to dump this in the trash. Okay. All right. I think I still have a little much in here. I'm going to push that out. Clean up the foam. Okay, I'm going to throw this away too. All right. So now we got our glitter mix in there. Okay, cool. So that makes me happy. So the next thing that we're going to do, and this is really particular, you want to grab some tweezers. You're going to hold this thing down. If you don't hold it down, it'll go flying. The glue tip might stick when you pick it up, and then, oops, see how the tweezers picked it up? You just want to be really careful and hold this thing down. So if you have tweezers, make sure they're not sticky. I think I'm going to hold it down this way, and I'm going to put a line of glue on the foam. Okay, so we're repeating the last step of putting a thin line of glue on the foam. Okay. Thin line of glue. You want to make sure you get it all the way around. You don't want it to be too thick because when you push that transparency down on it, it will flatten. See what I did? Just flung out some stuff. Okay. Okay. There we go. Line just a little bit more. We're going to put a little bit in the middle there. That's going to get covered by a layer. Okay, so this is the next particular part. So you don't need to have transparencies. I have a pack of transparencies from a big box store. It's a 8.5 by 11. I also have these from a local craft store. They're like plastic transparency pieces. They're very small. If you don't have any of that, it's okay. I have these bags that like big ephemera comes in. So you can take that. I cut out 2 pieces from that big bag that were straight and clear. See how nice and clear that is and straight. And what I did was I wear glasses, so I have a lot of this microfiber type cleaning cloth, and I just cleaned both sides. It is a crystal clear piece. It's nice and flat and straight. So if you don't have transparency, or if you're not able to get some clear acetate, grab a bag like this, and you're just going to want to drop it down. Don't move it. You're going to drop it down, leave it alone, okay? The next thing you're going to do is grab a piece of paper so you're not putting your handprints, and you're just going to kind of press it down. Okay, just press it down. Now, let me show you up close. It's going to look ugly. And you're going to be really tempted to do something about that ugly glue. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Okay? So we're going to put this on. We're going to let it dry. I'm going to put it over here. Oh, actually, that's not a great idea. Let me put it over here. Over there has a bunch of stuff I'll be talking about later. So it is now sitting on my shelf by itself, hanging out. Let it dry. Okay, this one's dry. Okay, so I've got a piece of acetate stuck to it. I let it dry. I set it aside and I let it dry. These, I did glue a bunch of the big pieces in. Only a few of them shake because that's what, for the purpose I'm going to use. So what I did was, you know what, I missed a step. Okay, so let me show you the step that I missed. So after you let it dry, I accidentally glued this on. Let's see if I've got another one. Nope. All right, so that was bad planning on my part. So what you'll do is after it dries, this acetate piece, you're going to grab your outline. So this orange outline I've already glued on. I did it off camera. I should have waited. So you're going to put a little bead of glue on it. And this is the one for the one that's drying. You put your bead of glue on. And be really careful when you put it down or line it up. You can use your tweezers. So I would get my tweezers. I would put the glue on the back. And then when you put this up, it's going to cover the foam. So you line it up and you're going to put it down. Now this is the same as the foam. When you get it down, when it's stuck on there, you're going to want to take your tweezers and kind of move it into place real gently. Don't manipulate it too much, but you'll move it over into place and get it where you want. And then you're going to, what are we going to do? We're going to put it aside. We're going to let it dry. All right. So this is one that I have done that. I made the backer. I inked it. I glued the foam on. I let it dry. I put the shaker mix in and I put the acetate on. Actually, let's go back to this one. So before we set this one aside, after we put the acetate on, let me go ahead and glue this on. Maybe that's what I plan to do. Maybe that's double drying time. So if you put the acetate on and then you put the outline on, they can both dry at the same time and save you some time. That's probably what I was thinking of. All right, so here is the outline that goes on the top. So you can do whatever you want to with these. You can either stamp a name of a drink or you can put a sentiment. I put live every hour like it's happy hour. I stamped it and then I embossed it with a bright blue contrasting. All right. So here's the outline. Here's what I was explaining. And you are going to glue it on top and you're going to kind of move it to where you get it right into place, lined up. And it does look ugly right now because it will look ugly until it dries. Okay, so I've got it all lined up here. You can see the white glue. So you see that the white glue peeking out in places. That's okay, that's normal. So now I've got this top layer on and I've got the top outline on. I'm going to move it over here and let it dry. And I am now here where I've glued this orange outline on. Before I glued the orange outline on, I played with it. I took a shiny pen, one of these glitter pens, and I made the middle shiny, and so that's what I did before gluing that on. You can do that. That's an idea. You can stamp it and emboss it. You can stamp a sentiment. You can stamp a name like root beer or whatever you wanted to do, but do that before you glue it on top of the acetate. So now I've got it all assembled. I let it dry. The thing is fully put together now, right? So now I am going to cut it out. and I like to see the back. It doesn't have to be too close, because it's clear and you can't really see the details of it. So I'm cutting it as close as I can get it without cutting my actual bottle. Okay. Make sure when you do this that you don't have any ink on your hand or glue, because you will get it on the front of the shaker as you're holding it like this. Don't want to do that. You want to try to keep it as clean as possible. Once you cut it out, take your microfiber cloth and just kind of clean it up a little bit. Okay. There you go. I don't have a sentiment for this one. I don't know what I'm going to use that for, but it reminds me of like the orange pops, you know, the orange different sodas that we had in the summer. I used to love those as a kid. All right, and then so last, and then I guess you could put cola on it because it is a kind of cola, if you wanted to, as a generic word, but I think I'm going to leave it, and maybe on one of those beach layouts that I do, I may put a sentiment for the day, whatever happens that day. So I'm going to just kind of leave it open. And so then I just put on the last piece, which is this, the bottle cap. You want to get that nice and straight at the top. And then there is your fully assembled bottle. And there you go. There's your cola. So if you want to follow along with this, grab this die out of the shop. It is in the Facebook Live group. It's also in the die. If you click on dies, it's in there as well. And you can make a ton of these. I took a marker and I experimented. I made a bunch last week off camera. And if you want to, you can, you know, use a marker to kind of give it some shadow or shade. If you want to do that, that's an idea. Leaving it just generic, putting a sentiment later, using white letters to spell something out, a person's name, what you're doing, whatever, that works as well. And so that's how you assemble the shaker.